Mental processes within the MBTI personality type refer to sensing, intuition, thinking, and feeling. And they're very different, and they express very differently within that extroverted function and introverted function. And this then results into 8 different mental functions. As you can see at the bottom here, we have extroverted sensing, which is why we have that subscript with the E. Introverted sensing, extroverted intuition, extroverted thinking, introverted thinking, extroverted feeling, and introverted feeling. And we are going to see that there's a difference in how we take in information and how we respond to that information depending upon if our functions are extroverted or introverted. Our preferences that are going to be within these 8 mental functions are what produce our type, and it's going to give us direction about our preferences. Now remember that the preference for judging and perceiving, which is your J or your P, the very last letter of your code, is what identifies what is going to be extroverted or introverted. That is, if your code ends in J, you are going to tend to use thinking or feeling in the outer world or in the extroverted world. And if your code ends in P, you primarily are going to use sensing or intuition in the outer world. Let's look a little closer at the preferred mental function of sensing. So when we look at how it is expressed extroverted method, you're going to see that those who use sensing in an extroverted way focus on detail, they pay attention at the moment, so they're present-oriented, and they like to see a realistic perspective on things. Now, when the sensing is used in an introverted methodology, the person or personality is going to prefer to have a review for clarity. They need concrete data. They love sensory awareness, and they're going to be able to remember details almost as if they're cataloging them. Let's look at intuition. When the focus is extroverted within intuition, this personality type is going to focus on ideas that are abstract. They really like to make connections, and they prefer the big picture. On the introverted side for intuition, this is where people are more future-oriented, and they still see connections and they see possibilities, but they really are very capable of quickly identifying patterns. Moving on to thinking. Within the extroverted expression of thinking, this personality type is constantly going to see logical structure. They will critique and question everything, and they tend to be very skeptical. Now, if they're introverted or use introverted thinking as their primary or dominant function, you're going to see that they tend to analyze, critique, and value reason and logical models. Our preferred process of feeling in an extroverted expression looks more like someone who is going to be very empathetic. They focus on people and they really appreciate other people. They most upon everything else really need harmony, and that's the foundation of their personality type. When we look at the awareness of introverted within feeling, these are people who are going to value a right action toward others. They're all about fairness. They like to evaluate things from the perspective of values, a mission, and even ideals. So now that we've looked over each of these functions within their extroverted and introverted modes, you can now pick out your type and see how is it that you use these. So for instance, if you are an ESFP, you could go back to this other slide on sensing and see that you have an extroverted sensing, which is what you show to the world. And then your auxiliary function is an introverted feeling, and you're going to then be able to see what you keep hidden more from the world.